Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Command Time Podcast with your host, DT, on the Fans for Sports Network. Look, today we're bringing back another mock draft as we go through another realistic scenario for the Washington Commanders. Also talk about the latest news out of Ashburn, and we also talk about the big visits with all these quarterbacks. This is Command Time with your boy, DT, Caleb, and Caleb. We're going ahead and get ready to kick off the show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we ready right now. It's about time. I know it's about time. It's about time.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy DT. This is Command Time with Caleb, DT, and Caleb on the Fans First Sport Network. I'm going solo pretty much tonight for right now. I'm pretty sure some people might come, but if not, you're going to be with me tonight as we talk about some of the things we have seen so far for this offseason for Washington. So, a couple of things that popped up this week. Obviously, and for those that watched the last episode, yes, we did have Josh Taylor up there. We talked about mock drafts, talk about some of the things we did in the off season, which we love, which we would like to see be addressed for the Washington Commanders, which was very well thought of. You know, appreciate Josh for hopping on the show and showing the things that we saw. And I definitely like some of the players on the roster as well. Some of the moves that potentially could be made. Also, we did a little bit of a mock draft on the episode as well. Had a somewhat of a trade that a lot of people liked and a lot of people didn't like. You know, traded a couple of picks for realistically getting a guy like Olu Fashanu up to, I think it was around pick 13. But, you know, right now, I think there's still going to be some conversations about trading up for that pick. But today, we're going to talk about some of the things that's happened the past couple of days. And I am going to be running another mock. This will be the mock 2.0 on the Command Time podcast, and I'll post it on Twitter for other people. But let's go ahead and touch upon some of the things that has happened the past couple of days. And to me, I think the biggest thing outside of the quarterback conversation that we saw, let's talk about some of the things that happened for the front office for a guy like Joshua Harris. So, as we see right here, the significant hire for the Washington Commanders, as Washington and Josh Harris has hired former longtime NFL executive Dave Gardy as the team's senior vice president of football initiative per sources. So for a lot of people that don't understand what that means, this person has well thought out experience, well known commodity around the league. He is going to help with the game day operations for Washington and the coaching staff. So he's going to be around guys like Dan Quinn, obviously. He's going to be around Adam Peters. He's going to be helping them, making sure they follow protocol with some of the things that happen on game day with legal manners and things of that nature. But they just go to show you that what has Josh Harris has done with this franchise. He's not taking an F no more in DC. I think that's very well thought of and very well made, that an F is not acceptable for what this franchise used to be. And clearly, obviously, not only they're fixing this thing up to fix the image of the Washington Commanders, but obviously a new stadium will be in conversations too. I mean, there's already conversations about where the stadium will be located, but a stadium is going to be coming soon for you Washington Commanders fans, definitely. So this is one of the moves right here for game day operations, making sure we follow everything within the NFL standard and the NFL protocol of the book. So this is a solid hire. I've seen so many good reactions so far from this move, and I think it's definitely something to be considered for what has happened with Washington, from the old regime to now. I think this is something that's going to be a big positive step one way or another. Definitely some more moves to be made. A lot of moves have been made in the front office, as much as we talk about the coaching staff, the player acquisitions, trading picks and stuff. And we're still getting ready for the NFL draft as well. So all to show you that this team is getting themselves ready for a good, productive season under the, I should say, first official deal of Josh Harris and his group. But, another thing that has also been spiraling out of control. So obviously, there has been conversations about the quarterback. The quarterback conversation has dominated DC for approximately almost 30 years, I would say, obviously, when it comes to talk about who you think is the franchise quarterback. Or, if you talk about Kirk Cousins, okay, we can have that conversation. RG3, of course, we can have that conversation as well. But obviously, Washington is still in search of that franchise guy. Definitely still in search of that franchise guy. And hopefully that can be addressed this year under the new regime. And no more we have to wait for trying to find the guy of the future. And I think for obviously it has been a very worn down conversation. That's why I have not been in spaces. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have not been in a space in almost 2.5 months because I think at this point we have seen how dry and tired the conversation has been. Everybody has a quarterback that they prefer. Me personally, I keep saying this. It doesn't really matter to me because I'm not the one picking the quarterback. It's Adam Peters and his group. And obviously, this is a big deal for Washington to get the right guy and have the right infrastructure around this quarterback to succeed. Where is the Jada Daniels, who I think can definitely come in and play now, or it could be a Drake May, obviously. I know people don't want to hear that name, but Drake May is definitely someone that if you have the time for him, he can potentially put all the things together to be that top 5 quarterback that everybody has projected him to be. But this is a projection business when you're talking about the NFL draft. You're projecting what these guys could be in the next 5 to 10 years. You're projecting what they could be, a Pro Bowl level player or just a guy at that position. Yes, just a guy at that position in the top 5, top 10. So obviously, this is definitely a heated conversation. But so with that being said, there has been a bunch of tweets that have came out so far today that I had to circulate. I had to go into group chats. So apparently, Washington, they're having their top 30 visits with the quarterbacks this week. But it's actually, from my understanding, that majority of the quarterbacks are meeting at a certain point tomorrow. I just seen a video of Jada Daniels rolling up to the Dubes airport right now. I also see Michael Penix. I also seen Drake May. So this is definitely a lobby for this quarterback position. They're doing some things that probably have never been done before when they're evaluating this quarterback position. And I think they're evaluating the person and not just the talent. So kind of putting these guys in the same room, see which one is going to crack or which one is going to stand out from the most. And that's how they will identify that guy. And I know a lot of people have seen some things like that. But first of all, I want to say shout out to Trapper Dog Podcast, Jamal, AJ, and Andre for having Adam Schefter getting a good pull on their channel. And having a great conversation with him based on his analysis, what he thinks is going to happen at the number 2 pick. And obviously, the conversation has been the past couple of weeks, it's starting to lean towards Jada Daniels. But as tight-lipped as this organization has been, we thought that a guy like Ben Johnson was going to be the definite head coach. We even had former players like Boom Myerson say, yeah, he's going to be the head coach of the Washington Commanders. But with all that being said, I will say this: when Adam Schefter says something, you definitely have to take heed to what he's saying. Definitely. I think, probably this process right now, if I was to lean who will be leading this quarterback race for the number 2 pick, I would probably say about I still think Drake May is there. I'll probably say about 52% Jaden Daniels, 48 Drake May. But all in all, I still think I'm very content with what they do at the quarterback position. Where is Drake May, where is Jaden Daniels? You're going to have to sell me on JJ McCarthy. You're going to have to sell me on JJ McCarthy. But nevertheless, I think this is definitely a good position for Washington at number 2 to see who do they want at quarterback. Shout out to Radar. Shout out to the Film Fodder for hopping in on the live stream as well. Go ahead, click the like, subscribe to the channel as well for more updates on Command Time. But I think for what I have seen so far today, a lot of people are speculating what is Adam Peters doing at number 2. I think all the cards are in his hands right now. Definitely seeing some things that he's doing to identify is definitely probably some techniques or some things that he has taken from his time with the 49ers, I should say. I believe at certain points they had all the certain positions at the same time, interviewing, having conversation with each other with that. Yeah, most definitely. So I like this strategy. I like the strategy personally because it's something that has never been done before. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, what are you doing? But this is their way they're processing. This is the way they're going to identify who is their quarterback. Because a lot of people think they have identified who they're going to pick. No, I quite frankly think by the end of this week, they're going to know who they pick. And then also on Thursday, they're not going to leave any tea leaves for you to figure out who they're going to pick at quarterback. I think Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, they're going to come in and say what they've been saying for the past couple of weeks when it comes to this position and what to other positions as well. Obviously, we know offensive line still needs to be addressed. Definitely need to add a wide receiver in the room. What you're going to do about defense, cornerback wise? Are these guys on the defensive corner one, Forbes in this new defense? So it's still some questions to be asked. And obviously, we know quarterback is the biggest one that's going to dominate on Thursday because we have the number 2 pick. But nevertheless, it's all good though. I think things will be very smooth, and hopefully, we can get some information out to you guys about that presser as well. So I'm very confident what I've seen so far. I like this process. I know it's very how should I say it? I know it's very touchy to some people, and a lot of people have asked me personally through DMs, personally on Facebook and stuff, like, hey, who are you leaning towards? Who's your guy? And I'm gonna be completely honest with you and say it like this. I know I have said, obviously, go get your guy, go get your guy. Yes, I'm still with go get your guy. But when I started out the draft process, especially when we were at the 5th overall pick, I was team Jaden Daniels because I seen what he has done this year. Obviously, he won a Heisman, but I didn't think his rise was going to be very this intense. And we're also at the number 2 pick. So at the number 2 pick, I was thinking, okay, it's definitely Drake May. But now with the rise of Jaden Daniels, which is very Joe Burrow-like now, for every Joe Burrow, you get a Kenny Pickett or Zach Wilson. But I think when it comes to this pick, we're going to see what direction obviously they're going. A guy that can either start right now, who I think is Jaden Daniels, or a guy that could be potentially that guy that everybody has projected him to be in the next 5 to 10 years, and that's a Drake May. So I definitely don't have no problem with that. But I think for us, it has been pretty chaotic when there are some numbers out there. There are some metrics that go against some of these quarterbacks as if they are perfect human beings. No, there are a lot of quarterbacks out there that have flaws. there are a lot of quarterbacks that have things that still need to be worked on. Obviously, Drake May has been practically destroyed during this process from a lot of people when it comes to his footwork or inconsistent play. And for Jaden Daniels, obviously there are questions about the talent around him, or can he throw to the middle of the field, or can he throw on the run? Can he create outside the pocket instead of running majority of the time? Or obviously a JJ McCarthy, his question has been, he wasn't really asked to carry the offense. He was the point guard. He was a game manager. And Michael Penix, what does he look like when he's getting pressure in his face? You saw that in Michigan. And obviously the health concerns we've seen for Michael Penix the past couple of years, but he's been healthy the last 2 years. So these 4 guys that are in that range, I probably won't say Penix is in that range, but he's definitely a guy that probably could be trade back option. But I don't think Washington trading back. I don't think they're trading back. I think they're going to select a guy at 2. The question is who they're going to select at 2. But I like this process. You have these 4 young men who have shown that they have some things that they can do, and there's some things that need to work on. And overall, it's all about the coaching staff that Dan Quinn has established, and Adam Peters, the group of people they have brought in to help with this regime, obviously, try to move the things that we have not had. Because, to be honest with you guys, when it comes to Washington has never had the infrastructure to develop a rookie quarterback, nor get the rookie quarterback a time, which is why I'm very confident in a room with Cliff Kingsbury, Brian Johnson, Anthony Lynn, Tavita Pritchard, and David Blow. Those are a lot of guys in that room that have hands in helping, assisting, and pushing the best out of a guy, especially at the quarterback position. And wherever it is at number 2, I think they're going to get the best ability out of these young guys. And I'm very confident in that. I love to see the collaboration with these coaches. Obviously, I haven't heard anything since from the interviews and stuff, but as much as we talk about the defense, obviously that's Dan Quinn's side. Everybody, all eyes are going to be on Cliff Kingsbury, what he can do with his second chance in the NFL, not as a head coach, but as an OC. We know the struggles with his offense in terms of adjusting. He did evolve bit by bit in Arizona, but still there are some things that concern a lot of people. Definitely concern a lot of people. So, with that being said, that's all the latest news we have for right now coming out of Commanders Park. So let's go ahead and do this mock draft. This is going to be the mock draft 2.0, and then I think we're going to call it a night. I think obviously everybody's kind of burnt out from what they've seen and all these things like that. So I am going to be running the mock right here. I have the settings all set up, and this is going to be for Washington. I have all the settings. Shout out for Telly to having the settings and stuff straight up. So I'm going to put it on slow, so that way I can see and identify what I want to do. Now, I know last episode with Josh, we all came to consensus. We went with potential. So obviously, I'm going to change it up a bit. I'm going to go with based on what everybody has been talking about. So Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick. Obviously, we have known that for the mightiest of long times. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this draft started. I'm going to go with obviously Jaden Daniels. That's been the name popping up the past couple of weeks. That's where it's been trending otherwise. And we see some of the picks so far. Marvin Harrison falling to 7 is crazy though. That's not going to happen. But I think obviously to talk about the pick, getting Jaden Daniels, he'll be a guy that has grown the 5 years of college. He can instantly come in and play. I think the biggest question for Jaden for me is obviously can he get better than what we saw him in college and progress? Obviously, he still has some things he needs to do, and I'll be very impressed with that. So, right here at picks 36, we have a couple of names right here. We got Troy Franklin, a couple of wide receivers right here. Let me go ahead and check. Obviously, I want to check what the offensive line look like. And it's looking like I possibly should have traded up. Well, there's actually a couple of good names right here for referee. You got you got Kingsley. I probably don't want to go and get Kingsley right here. I probably think I can get him at 40. So, and then we have wide receiver as well. I don't think I'll go crazy at wide receiver so early. So let's do this. Let's do Tyler Nubin's here. Last time Tyler Nubin was on the board, and I know a lot of people have said for him, he's definitely one of the highest players on board. I just don't see Washington addressing safety that early. And he's a talented player. I don't see them going linebacker that early as well. I think the earliest you could go at a position wise, edge, wide receiver, or offensive line. And I think the position of need that I would go Keon Coleman's right here. I think he'll definitely be a fit, but you also have a guy like Pearsall, and you have Eric Rashaw as well. Man. So maybe I'm think I'm going to lean corner. I think I'm going to lean corner right here. Sandra Steele, he's more of a slot guy. I like Eric Rashaw. To me, I will go between Eric Rashaw and Keon Coleman or edge rusher. But because I went Coleman last time with Josh Taylor, I'm going to go Ernest Rashaw at 36, and let's see what we can do at pick 40, who is left. So we still have some wide receivers on the board. Michael Penix and Bo Nix still on the board is kind of crazy as well. Oh, no, Tampa was there too. I did not see that. Yeah, folks not gonna like this mock draft, but it is what it is. But I think for me, addressing corner should be good for this team. I still want to go and address offensive line. I think Kingsley to me, he's here. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think this guy is here. His name has been trending the past couple of weeks. Especially I heard a lot of people talk about him. The only question you would have for him really is the level of competition. Obviously, playing at Yale, comparing to the Power 5 schools. I think Kingsley makes a ton of sense right here. But then also, I just want to look at what else we have. I see a couple of keystones right here. I think so. Looking at this list right here, I think it's very best to say if the offensive line, especially at tackle, goes the way that it was projected to go with multiple linemen, I think Washington definitely needs to use some of their assets to trade up. So, and then you still have best players on the board. So let's go back to the best players on the board. Let's try to hurry it up. I don't want to go so defense early because I think we still have some pieces. So I'm thinking about getting the guy with the best traits for the offensive line. It definitely might be a reach, but I think Kingsley, the tackle from BYU, he makes a ton of sense. All right, as we see a couple of key guys coming on. I still probably want to address offensive line somewhere around the top 100. Michael Penix to the round. Oh my God. it's a good thing we have a lot of these picks that we can address some of the needs we have. So at pick 67, we still have some good players on the board. So we obviously got Chris Bradwell, Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker. You have Jalen Wright, running back, Junior Colson. Also have Blake Fisher, Jermaine Burton, Trey Benson. And got my guy Cooper Beebe. I know last time I went crazy when we had Cooper Beebe, bro. Like I was so hyped. But I still wanna change it up a bit. So I want to see what the wide receiver room look like. So we have pick 78. I think we can snatch a wide receiver between 78 and 100. So I probably don't want to go as early as people think I should go early. I also don't really want to go early with edge as well. Tight end is definitely too early as well. Oh no, maybe I might lean wide receiver. I think this is a rich point. So you got Jermaine Burton, Tez Walker, Javon Baker, Johnny Wilson, Jalen McMillan, Brandon Rice, Luke McCaffrey. So this is interesting because really after a guy like Taj Washington, you kind of got and maybe a guy like Luke McCaffrey, you got a couple of names that you probably never heard of if you do your research. Some of these guys are good. Let me check with the tackle room again. So there's a possibility that they could go double dip. It was me. I'll probably double dip as well. But I still think a guy like Christian Jones could be late. Interior. Cooper is right here. I'm not so sure if they are very high. Well, they are high on Nick Allegretti, but to me, I still think you need a guy that could be an instant starter for futures to come. And Cooper Beebe, I think it would be a perfect fit for Washington. He's one of my dream guys. I love having DC. Yeah, so if I had to go, I think I'm gonna go wide receiver. And based on what Washington needs, Jermaine Burton, he's a guy that, he has the talent in the world, just an attitude. Tez Walker, I might be using that North Carolina bias, but I don't want to. I love Javon Baker, but I think Washington needs a guy that can be that basketball guy in the red zone. So I'm going to go with Johnny. Well, that might be a little bit too high for him as well. There's a possibility we could trade back. But I also think, to be honest with you, the best player available on the board, and as much as people talked about like what Jamie Davis could do in this defense, we talked about it last night on Only the Huddle. I don't see them picking up his 5th-year option. And with Bobby Wagner on a 1-year deal, you got Frankie Lulu. I think signing a guy like Edgerrin Cooper would be a great benefit. A guy that can be a sponge and probably play in some spots. Shoot, maybe might be a chance that could be a chance that a guy like Jamin might get cut in the offseason. And we still don't know what's going to happen with the court case. Let's see a couple of comments right here. Radar said, what do you think about Brandon Rice? I like Brandon Rice as well. I just think, it might be a little bit high to take him around in round 3. I'll probably take him around maybe that compensatory pick at 100 or possibly day 4 he doesn't get snatched up. But then I think obviously I think I need to go with my gut. I think I need to go with my gut and be real. I think Cooper should be one of the highest players on this board. And obviously this is PFF. They don't like that. I'm gonna go with Cooper BB. We're gonna address this offensive line. We're gonna be very stout and just protect your franchise investment quarterback. Although I do think the Edgerrin Cooper thing would have been a great thing for this team. So now we're back here again at 78. We addressed offensive line twice. So we still got the basketball guy, Johnny Wilson. I'm really trying to not address this defense as much because I think the defense will be pretty solid this year. So we had pick 78. I addressed tackle. I addressed guard. Let's see what wide receiver is looking again. So, like Radar saw, Brandon Rice is there, and I think there could be some things with that because Brandon Rice did play when Lincoln Riley was there. So Lincoln Riley got a first good look at a guy like Brandon Rice. Also, there's a guy like Jalen McMillan nobody's really talking about from Washington. Well, Washington receivers were really good. But also, I keep thinking about the linebacker position because once Jamin is gone, like I'm not gonna be impressed with the linebacker going out of Lulu and then probably Wagner. Defensive tackle depth. Let's see what we have with the defensive tackles first. There's a couple of guys up here. I don't know if they want to address it early, but a guy like Michael Hall is still on the board. And he's definitely a steal. Let me go to one more side. Oh my God, you got DeAndre Sweat as well. Also, estimate Brandon Rice, Trey Hill, Bobby Wagner, Todd. It's some guys up here. It's definitely some guys up here. So I feel like linebacker needs to be addressed for the future. I think linebacker needs to be addressed for the future, man. And obviously, I'm like this. I know people are on Fedarian Mathis, but Mike Hall fits this defense as well. As explosive as he is, he had dominating Senior Bowl week. But do you want to draft a guy round 3? So if that's the case, if for people who are talking about defensive tackle, that means John Allen on the trade block? Something to consider, but I should be a homer, but I think they're going to address linebacker, Bell. So I'm going to go with Junior Colson here at 78. Somebody to learn and be a sponge out of the linebackers we have. And if it goes the way I projected to go, I could possibly try. Okay, so I think I like where I'm at. So we have Jamari Thrash, we have Jay Counting, Anaya Smith, and then you have Brandon Rice. Me personally, so see right here on the big board, you have some tight end, Case Stover. I think it's still high for a tight end. I just address a guard. So running back still on the board. Very surprised that a guy like Sweat is still on the board as well. I just know right now that because I like where the tight end room is looking at in terms of who has been picked, I think it's best to say I could snatch a Brandon Rice before he even hits round 4 right now. So I'm gonna get Brandon Rice, the wide receiver out of USC, somebody who's very familiar with Cliff Kingsbury. It might be a little bit high, but I think I can live with that. Also, a guy provide some help on the outside with his size. No, I don't need him to be like his father, but I definitely need him to be someone to help in the wide receiver room. I think right here between 139 and 152, I want to grab my tight end. I also want to see what edge rusher I could get later on. Okay, so we have Cole Bishop, we have Theo Johnson, Will Shipley, Gabriel Murphy, Cedric Gray, Christian Jones. Okay, so I think I might cook a little bit. I think I might cook a little bit right here based on the depth. So at pick 139, obviously we got a quarterback. We hit 2 spots on the offensive line. Instant starters, something to build on the offensive line. Edge rusher still is a need. We drafted a corner. They put a lot in the offseason defensive back room, but tight end, edge rusher, and possibly again a developmental guard. So let's see where we have a tight end. So we have Theo Johnson, we have Jaheim Bell, Dallin Holker, Tip Ryman, AJ Barner, and my sleeper guy that I started to pick up on. Tanner McLaughlin. I need people to go look his game up. He's a former wide receiver, transferred to Arizona. And if you want to talk about a smooth route runner, that dude is a smooth route runner, bro. But I think for me, looking at tight end, we can also offensive line. It's still a guy like that. Maybe I could snatch him up at 152. Is that a possibility? To have some offensive line. Washington needs an offensive line, bro. Also need an edge rusher too. I like a guy like Gabriel Murphy. I also like a guy like I just seen his name somewhere. Hang on that one dot. It's still Javon Foster up here. Grayson Murphy. That's another guy to keep an eye on. I could have sworn I seen another guy up here at defensive end. I'm gonna go one more place. For those wondering why I'm not doing it the other way, it's because it won't scroll down. I can't see it that way, so I had to do it like this. It's Solomon, Ibadi Oki Onoma. I heard his name circling as well. So I'll tell you what. I think I'm gonna go with Theo Johnson right here. He has the higher traits. He's also a former wide receiver as well. So we get a Penn State guy to go here, and we can definitely see what we can add later on. I think for me, if a guy like Christian Jones is still here, I'll still add him on the offensive line. Yeah. Well, you know, Christian Jones is still here. Christian Jones is still here. Foster is there. They love his run blocking. I know I addressed offensive line 3 times, but let me see what the edge room look like. Cam Hart's still there on the board, so that kind of tells me something. Jean Baptiste, we brought him in for a top 30 visit. The crazy thing is, I know people talk about bringing a guy at edge rusher. I don't think they go as high as what we think. Now, if there's a guy that they love, they'll definitely go do it. But I just, for some reason, I feel like they're not gonna. I think they like the room of defensive ends they have. I see a guy like Jalen Harrell, someone that could rush the passer. Overall, it's some guys I like, but it's not guys I love. And I'm just thinking for the future of the team. I know, would they add 3 players on the offensive line? Would it be highly likely? But I just think Cornelius Lucas, he's on a 1-year deal. I don't see them re-signing after another year, especially if they draft their tackle of the future. And Andrew Riley, everybody despises. So they're going to bring in their own guys with high traits, high development, and they're going to build this offensive line the right way. So nail the quarterback, got 3 2 instant starters to me, in my opinion, and a guy that I could develop and be a tackle of the future on the right side. And I think right here, I'll probably go with edge rusher. Also draft a wide receiver and a tight end to go in the skill position room. It's a lot of picks right here. Do I love what I did? I think I like what I did, but I definitely think what probably I would probably change. I think for me, looking at the corners, I definitely think the corners are going to fall farther than what people think. Did not realize when I took Eric Rashaw that Tampa was there. If I saw Tampa there, I definitely would have took Tampa over Rashaw. But I think he's going to be a good player to start on the outside. So now we are at the last pick. I added a quarter in the room. I see another guy that we have signed, and we brought in top 30 Elijah Jones, I should say. Let's see where I would go. I think the next position I would say is I would say edge rusher for real. So think I'm gonna go ahead and take David Ugwoegbu, and then that's how I'm gonna finish my 2024 NFL mock draft, mock 2. So obviously I did it without the crew tonight, but we will have a final mock next week before the draft goes. I would say just to see where we're going to be leaning on day 1 to 3. If I had to give myself a grade, I would probably give myself a B minus. I think the second pick could have been definitely the right position. I would say it based on not trading up to get the tackle, but probably the wrong player at that spot. Yeah, I said about a B minus. Yeah, definitely gonna say this and share this as well. Shout out to all the people. Shout out to all the people that came in and hopped in the comments and stuff tonight. But yeah, so just to show you, for those that missed it, they said up here, Drake May has a higher board potential. Well, I think we said that last time. So this is mock 2.0 for Washington. This is without trades. I think obviously this is where I would disagree with them. I definitely got 2 caliber starters, and this guy I feel like could be a developmental guy with some. Brandon Rice, I think I'll probably agree with that. I think that's definitely a little bit high for him. But looking at the wide receiver position and how it was going to phase out, I definitely think it was the best shot to get him. So got Jaden Daniels with the second overall pick, Ernest Rexhaw Jr., cornerback from Missouri, at pick 36. Pick 40, Kingsley Suamatai, cousin of Penei Sewell. He'll be a starting tackle for the Commanders. Also, once again, I did with Man Crush. I do not care about this grade because Cooper Beebe is better than that grade. Linebackers definitely could have been questionable. I understand people like the linebacker room. I just don't see Jamin coming back. He would have to have like a electric year or a Pro Bowl year, his final year, in order for him to come back. Otherwise, they're not even going to pick up the 5th-year option because that's like $15 million for him. And Junior Colsaw, he'll be a guy I'll say spot starter, can play a couple of games in for Bobby Wagner, possibly come in nickel packages as well. Because of my understanding, Bobby was taken out of nickel packages a lot in Seattle. Brandon Rice, wide receiver, to go with Terry and Jahan on the outside. Theo Johnson, I just went with the best tight end on the board. Although I find my sleeper still on the board. I'm gonna fight the next couple of days about, hey man, let's not sleep on my guy. Christian Jones, a good value pick. Someone that could be that Cornelius Lucas replacement, but actually Andrew Wiley replacement as well, could start in the future at right tackle. And we can have a young nucleus of offensive line. And drafted the edge rusher go in the room, David Ugwoegbu. So got a B minus for it. So I'm content for now. I'll definitely show it, and I'll see what your guys thought on this mock draft. I'm not sure what my co-hosts and them think, but yeah, I think it was a solid mock draft, and really because everybody's kind of burnt out right now for that. So that's all I really have for y'all tonight. This was the mock 2.0. Anyway, for those that stayed on, shout out for everybody that stayed on, watch the mock draft, listen to the updates we have for the Washington Commanders. And look, please click like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to have more updates on what's going to happen. We're going to do a draft. We're going to do a post day 1 draft pod, I should say, before night 2, so we can react to the fact that we drafted whoever we drafted at quarterback. And we'll probably do some other things as well to keep you updated on the Fans First Sports Network. But that's all I have for y'all tonight. Shout out to everybody who came in, hopped on, dropped some comments. We'll see you guys next week. As next week it's the week, bro. It's draft week. It's gonna be very stressful. Some of y'all ain't gonna be able to sleep next couple of days, especially if they pick a quarterback that we don't want. But all in all, I'm ready for this regime to kick it off, and I cannot wait to see who's going to be going number 2 to the Washington Commander. Who is going to be a Washington Commander on week 1 of the season? That's all I have for y'all tonight. Y'all stay safe, and y'all have a good night.
Got me feeling so free, free.